The focus of this section are the things your customer needs to do in preparation for the outing before the motor gets turned on. Things like checking the safety equipment, making sure life jackets fit, and being briefed on any hazards, signage, or buoys in the area. Of course, this also implies some preparation on your part. For example, ensuring the right equipment is supplied with the boat and making sure you are familiar with the waters around your rental location. Naturally, you need to tailor the information to your particular customer and to suit your particular location. Before leaving the dock, ensure each person has a Canadian-approved life jacket or personal flotation device. These life jackets must fit properly, so customers will need to try them on. Make sure the customer understands if they pick up other guests, they must have life jackets also. Encourage everyone to actually wear their life jacket. About 90% of people who drown in recreational boating incidents are not wearing a life jacket. Conditions like rough winds and waves and cold water can make it hard to access and put on a life jacket. If a boater falls into the water, the boat, with the life jacket on board, could be too far away to reach. For customers with children, you should stress that children should always be wearing their life jackets. For added safety, recommend that children be assigned seats. An adult should be assigned to keep track of children at all times. The rental agency is responsible for providing safety equipment and ensuring it is in good working order. The type of equipment needed depends on the type and size of boat. Refer to Transport Canada's Safe Boating Guide or the Small Vessel Regulations to make sure each boat you rent is carrying the legally required safety equipment. Larger boats require more safety equipment. Also, be aware that additional safety equipment is required on personal watercraft if anyone on board chooses not to wear a life jacket. Learn the safety equipment required for each boat. Show the customer where the equipment is located and how to use it. Customers must have proper safety equipment while boating and must be able to locate it easily and know how to use it. Make sure the customer understands mixing alcohol and boating is very dangerous. Under normal conditions, sun, wind, the motion of the boat, and just being tired can dull your senses. Alcohol or drugs make things worse. At no time should anyone operate the boat under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Your customers must know that operating a boat while impaired is against the law and punishable under the criminal code. Provinces and territories also have their own regulations about how alcohol may be transported and when and how it may be consumed on a boat. It is important to make your customers aware of these for the area of operation. While boating, customers may come across different buoys with different colors, markings, and placement. You should know the ones in your area and be able to explain to your customer what they mean and how to navigate around them. Up-to-date nautical charts are a good tool to help you review this information with your customers. To learn more about the buoys you will need to explain, refer to the online Safe Boating Guide. You will need to inform your customers about any signage they might encounter, particularly those indicating hazards or restrictions, so they can respond appropriately when they see them. We'll deal with hazards and restrictions in the next couple of checkpoints. You need to tell the customer about any local hazards. These include, but are not limited to, local currents and tides, sudden winds, overhead or underwater cables, and rapids and low-head dams. Have up-to-date nautical charts available so you can show customers where they may encounter a hazard. Hazards can change from one season to the next. At the start of each boating season, learn about any new hazards on the local waterway. Such hazards could include lower water levels that expose new rocks and sandbars, or higher water levels that increase the hazard presented by currents or rapids. Make customers aware of any local rules and restrictions. Common ones include speed restrictions, engine horsepower limits, and areas that are off limits to powerboats. Restrictions are put in place to promote safety and protect the environment. Make sure they know any restriction signs they may come across in your vicinity so they can respond appropriately. A difference alert regarding the personal watercraft checklist. You will notice the personal watercraft checklist has an extra icon and checkpoint. For personal watercraft rentals, all operators must be at least 16 years of age. You may have customers who plan to trailer the boat to a different location for the rental period. When this is the case, you may not be as familiar with the waterways they'll be using, and you might not be aware of the local hazards. In this situation, have customers agree to check in with businesses or individuals who are familiar with the waterways, such as a marina or outfitter, for any local information. You should also encourage them to obtain nautical charts or topographical maps if charts aren't available. The main point being, wherever customers are, becoming familiar with local hazards and rules, such as speed limits, before you go is very important.